Hi Tubies, here's Sir Alexander again, and welcome to another video. Today we will talk about eBay and other platforms where you can buy used miniatures. So, I want to talk about what kind of miniatures you should look out for, what kind of deals you could expect if you're totally new to this hobby and you're overwhelmed with 10,573 entries of Stormcast Eternals you find on eBay. Well, let's talk about what to expect, what to watch out for, and well, how to navigate those entries. So, let's start with category number 1. That is the Mint Unboxed. Like this here, for example. This here is a Lena Stormspire, one of the collector's edition miniatures, and I bought her on eBay. Well, she is mint and unboxed, and well, this is bought for a premium price. So it was expensive. So this miniature alone cost me about 50 euros. Other miniatures that you can buy mint and unboxed are obviously your standard miniature boxes, and you can expect to pay full retail prices for those, plus shipping. Sometimes you can get lucky and get 2 to 5% discount, maybe sometimes even 10%, depending on the online store that you are buying from. eBay has not only private accounts, also store accounts, and well, those stores sell you mint unboxed versions. So, now category 2. These are the unboxed but open. So, if you have an open box, those are regularly for almost the same price as the standard version that is still shrink wrapped, with one caveat, one big caveat. You definitely have to check for the contents of the box, if everything that the box should contain is in there. So here, for example, we have the miniature itself. The base is down there in the bottom, and we have the instruction manual, and so everything is in there. This miniature here, for example, I bought for about 10% discount on eBay, just because it was not shrink wrapped anymore. But I don't want to collect my Stormcasts, I want to build and prime and paint and play with them. So I don't care if the box has a shrink wrap around it or not. I only care about the miniature, and the miniature is in perfect condition, so you can expect to get a good version of that. Keep in mind to check the box for the content. Next category. This is the pre-built miniatures. You can find those on eBay tons. So pre-built miniatures are normally just plain out of the box, built without primer. The only thing you have to look out for with these miniatures is if they have still some mold lines on them before you start priming and painting them. But other than that, they're totally normal miniatures that you can go for. Built miniatures go for a little bit cheaper than the unboxed versions. Also, in the unboxed versions, there are all miniatures in this category that you can find from starter sets, for example. If you can buy a set of the entire starter set, half, for example, half the Space Marine content of the Indomitus box, or half the content of the Dominion box from the Stormcast Eternals, or from the Cruel Boys. So those are also in the open box category. So this is now here the build miniature. You can't do anything wrong about this. The only thing you have to check really is if there are any missing parts, any broken parts, and yeah, go for them if you want to. Next part is the built and primed version. So there we go, even a little bit cheaper than the built versions already. Same thing here. Check for broken parts, missing parts, and sometimes mold lines, and if they are glued already together. So for example, this here would be hard to paint if the shield would be glued. So in this case we have, tada, the shield is removable, and so the entire miniature is good and well paintable. Only downside here is the primer didn't get into here, for example, and under the arm. If you want to paint your Stormcast Eternals in gold, well, then this is the perfect primer. If you want to paint a different color scheme and you find primed miniatures in a different color than what you're going for, that's not a big deal. You can go for it. Just reprime them with a light coat. It doesn't matter if there's a second base coat layer over that. If you keep it light with your airbrush, for example, you can prime with very thin layers, and that's nothing fancy. So on the price point, I would say primed miniatures, you can expect a discount from 10 to 15% to the retail value. They are still 100% playable, and most of the time you find them in units, unit sizes, sometimes missing 1 or 2 miniatures, or you have a primed unit and one of them is painted, for example. They are definitely a good thing to look out for, and you can get your miniatures a little bit cheaper. So from this point on, we go to the thing that I would not recommend, and that is the partially assembled with missing parts. Those are only good if you want to boost out your bits box, or if you have something for a conversion in mind. But if you really want to have this miniature on the battlefield as a Stormcast Eternal riding here this Dracoth, well, the rider is missing. Now you need a rider. Next thing you could do is find the missing parts on eBay, hunt them down in from bits sellers, and try to recreate the entire miniature. That you could do. Or you could start chopping up your Stormcast Eternals to maybe fit a rider on there, but well, I wouldn't recommend that. So keep your hands off of assembled miniatures with missing parts. Those are a no-go. So next are broken miniatures and stuff you should definitely not get, or only get if you are an experienced hobbyist with a big bits box and have skills in repairing and restoring miniatures. So these are, for example, some examples for that. Yeah, there are examples for examples. Yeah, here we have a previously painted miniature. He was primed black, and then he was stripped from paint, and you can see there's still some paint left here and there, but overall he is repairable, definitely, but it's at the brink. So for example, we could clean this part here off and give him a new weapon if you have weapons in your bits box, and we could clean up the parts here, reprime him, and well, fix him up with a new base. Also here, for example, for some reason here's some diamond structure under his feet. I guess they ripped off the base. I don't know. I bought these very cheap. So those miniatures are really cheap. So we are talking about maybe 80 to 90% discount. So if you shoot those miniatures, keep a lookout for, yeah, what you're paying is what you're getting. So here are, for example, other stuff you could look out for. Overprimed miniatures. Here you can see the details on the hammer, and here the shield, for example. Also here on the breastplate you can see that it's overprimed. There are missing details. Here the details on the leather strips are well, almost non-existent anymore. And here you get a big blob inside here between the parchment and the dagger that he is holding. Also here in the fold of his tabard you can't even really see the scales anymore. This is, for example, a miniature that needs serious stripping of the paint before you can even attempt to rescue this miniature. So this has a value of maybe 10 to 5% of the original price of the miniature. So if you're really good with stripping paints and repairing miniatures, then you can go for them. You can make a real bargain with them, and you get the hobby for very cheap, but well, it's a lot of work ahead of you. Same here for this miniature. Here, glossy paint. Also, sometimes you have to watch out for enamel paints used and stuff like that. So, for example, if you try to strip those miniatures with isopropyl alcohol, it wouldn't work. It would only work with turpentine. And then, if those are on plastic miniatures, you have a problem. You can't leave them in the turpentine or the white spirit for too long unless the miniature starts melting. Here again, missing weapon and stuff. So really not a good thing. Here another one of the same batch, and he's even worse for wear. He's missing arm parts and heads and the other arm, and he's missing a shield and overpainted. So this is a horrible miniature. Those miniatures are also exceptionally good for testing paint schemes. So if you want cheap test miniatures for paint application or color testing, those are the perfect miniatures for that. So for test purposes, they are perfect. Go for them. Other than that, I would not recommend. So next up, we have miniatures that are painted in your army's color scheme, but not matching. Here, for example, I have a miniature that is well, decently painted, so the paint is not applied too thick. It's normal paint job, but the gold is not to the standard of my army. But I can use this miniature to simply overpaint this, start highlighting, and treat this miniature as half painted for my army. So those miniatures go for normally 20% of the retail price, a little bit cheaper than the mint unboxed, but they well, give you less work to do in your paint job. So I wouldn't have to paint the base coats here for this miniature. It would cost me a little less time to paint him, and yeah, those are miniatures that you can definitely go for. I recommend them to boost up your army relatively quickly. Only caveat for this is also with all the assembled miniatures, watch out for broken parts and missing parts. Here, for example, the wings are missing, missing-ish. I have those in a box here. No problem there. They're absolutely fine. But from one of those lots, I had the wings broken, for example, and I had to fix them with some green stuff and milliput and stuff like that. But in the end, it turned out well. So, next category. The category I would describe as awesome paint job. Ta-da! Well, sometimes you get miniatures like this. This is a miniature that, as you can see, is painted by someone who has held the brush for the very first time. The color on the cloak is definitely spotty and not an even application of color. The armor itself was white primed, and he tried with some wash over it instead of contrast paint, and he did an overall sloppy paint job. Why did I buy this miniature? Well, this miniature, if you believe it or not, was just €2. It is super cheap, and I can totally fix this miniature. This is just like the miniature here. It is for me a half paint job that I can well, restart. Yes, the paint job might be cloudy, but well, this is just the first coat, and we can paint over it a second and a third coat and highlight it to the standard that we want our miniatures to be, and you won't see a thing after that. Also, the armor itself, it's a nice base coat for a gold paint job, so I will lose nothing here. The face is white primed, there's nothing there. Wonderful. I can normal start painting this. The red I can shade with a wash and then highlight with a little bit of dry brushing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this miniature. So if you find those, if they are just badly painted, but if you take a close look and the paint job is not too thick, you can totally go for them. They're cheap as hell, but well, you can just awesomely paint them if you like to. Same goes for this as for any other miniature. Look out for broken parts, for mold lines and stuff like that, but expect a good value out of this one here. Next up is the lot. Lots are miniature boxes that you can find on eBay. For example, this here. This is a haul of some Stormcast Eternals, some primed, some partially painted, and well, here you have a partially painted Relictor, and again some partially painted Sequitors. Yes, this was from the same guy that sold me this one, believe it or not. Yeah, those are miniatures mostly from starter sets. So for example, Sequitors you find really cheap on eBay, but any other starter box miniature, be it Space Marines or Necrons or now Cruel Boys or Stormcast Eternals, new ones, old Stormcast Eternals from a core box, or Nighthorns or Orcs from a old 40k starter box set, or sometimes Dark Elder, and all the other miniatures that ever came in any kind of starter box, you can find in lots like this. Those go for really cheap, and you get a bulk of miniatures that are already built and primed and painted, sometimes partially. Those are the diamonds in the rough that you can look out for on eBay. Those are the hunts that you go and find your hidden treasure in there. Sometimes there are even some broken character miniatures in there. that you can easily fix with something from your bits box or something like that. Keep a look out for that. So, yeah, what else is there? Yeah, next category. Next category are the oddballs. Oddballs are miniature conversions that you can find. Something like that, for example. Well, this is actually a conversion I did yesterday, but you can totally find this on eBay. So, you have now here a conversion out of a Stormcast Eternal how are they called? Liberator. Thank you. The Stormcast Eternal's Liberator combined with the weapons from the new starter set, with the spear and the shield from the Vindictors. So here's a no-go. He doesn't count as as one or the other. What do you use this for? Well, those miniatures could be nice stand-ins in your army, some nice conversions that you can just simply buy, like these. You find all sorts of things conversion-wise on eBay. Orc trucks that are built, orcish imperial tanks, Tau conversions, chaos spawn conversions, and what have you. So those miniatures are always treat with care. Look explicitly for things that you can maybe repair, in heavy quotes, to get their old purpose back, or if you want the new purpose, then well, go for it. Personally, would not recommend. So the conversion corner on eBay, keep a lookout, but be careful when you buy something from there. Next category, those are stuff like this here, for example. Smokestacks for your miniatures, or other conversion bits that are already attached to miniatures. Yeah, you can totally go for that if you like to. But personally, I would recommend to buy the conversion bits if they are not already attached to a miniature. Something like that. Shields, for example, pre-printed. And then you're good to go. Yeah, conversion bits like this, you have to take into account the price of the normal miniature, price reduction for build, for primed, then the smokestack price itself, for example, and miniature reduction cost for build and primed. Look out for missing parts and stuff like that. Again, but you can get a bargain for these sometimes. Yeah, is there another category that is missing? I think. Well, there's also the painted miniature, the good painted miniature on eBay, of course. Let's just say you find this on eBay. Yeah, this is a really well painted miniature, and there you can see then out of a sudden a price tag for one of these miniatures for 20 euro, 60 euro, 100 euro, 1000 euro, doesn't matter. The price is upwards compatible, so depending on the paint job that the guy is delivering, or the girl who has made this eBay account, you can expect sometimes really nice treats for your army if you go for a really high paint job, but expect to pay real premium on this miniatures. really well painted miniatures go for really high prices, but you get what you pay for. If you pay 300 euros for an Industrial painted like this, yeah, then you have given your army a treat. Yeah, I think that covers all miniatures related things on eBay, what to look out for and what to expect. I hope I gave you a little bit of insight, and I wish you happy hunting on eBay. So, other than that, I would say thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, the usual. You can find me on Instagram, and also I have a Discord. And well, we see us in the next video. You're Alexandra. See you.